Hello and welcome along to Mondo Chelloveck Movies. My name is John, and last year I did a top 10 banned 4K video nasties, which I'll leave a link to down below. And on that video I said I would come back and do another 10 when I got them. Now I have got another 10 here. So these days it's quite commonplace to hear video nasties coming out in 4K. It's amazing and I hope it continues for a long time. At number 10 is 1978's The Toolbox Murders. Now I'm going to tell you what sections these come off, and this is a bit of a grey area. You'll find, especially on section 3, there is some conflicting reports as what was actually put on section 3. I've read a lot of different lists about it. Now this has definitely been prosecuted in the past as a video nasty, and I do consider it to be a video nasty, even though it's not on every list you'll find out there. But this here is one of the first ones that was brought out as a 16mm print, and you thought, are they really needing to do that? Because obviously the picture quality on the 35mm one would be much better, as most of these ones are. It's not the best looking 4K you will ever see. But if you look at this one compared to the VHS one, which looked atrocious, and even the DVDs never looked good. The Blu-ray was okay, but it was really scratchy. This one's been cleaned up and it looks really good. So this 4K is from its original negatives, but it does have its limitations. You've got to bear that in mind when you go and looking at these kind of low budget 16mm prints. But a really good upgrade for me. So at number 10, that's the Toolbox Murders. At number 9 is 1980's Anthropophagus The Beast. This is a section 1 video nasty. This is one of my favourite films of all time. I love this film. It's not for everybody. It's really slow moving. It's not that gory, but it's got a few gore scenes in it, which you can see why this was put on the list. Now, this is a really low budget Italian horror film, and you've got to take that in mind when you're watching this. It's not the best 4K, but for me, the way this used to look on VHS and DVD even, it used to look atrocious, but now it looks, for me, it looks really good. I wouldn't say it's sensational, but if you consider what it used to look like, you will see that this 4K is a really good upgrade. So again, it's another 4K with limitations. But if you go looking at this, considering if you had saw the VHS and never saw it again until you saw this one here, you would be wowed by it. And that's what I'm feeling about these ones when they get released in 4K. The fact is that I've got knowledge of them, what they used to look like. So personally for me, because I enjoyed this film so much, I couldn't wait to get this in 4K. Although I was surprised when they announced it because I didn't think this would be the one that they would bring out in 4K, but I'm so glad they did. So as I said before, these lower ones aren't exactly what you would call demo discs, but for what they used to look like, they are a massive upgrade. So at number 9, that's Anthropophagus The Beast. So at number 8 is 1981's Butcher Baker Nightmare Maker. This is a section 2 video nasty, and when this came out, I'd never seen this one before, and it's a great film actually. And when I saw they were going to do this in 4K, I thought this is the time when I think anything would be fair game on 4K if they can get a hold of some good negatives. Now this one again, it's not the best 4K, but for this one, I'm led to believe that it's a really massive upgrade from what it used to look like. Bearing in mind, I've never seen this one before. It's just so great to get these obscurities being released on 4K. And that's what I'm talking about mainly on this video. The fact is that I'm still kind of pinching myself to think these are really here. These 4Ks of these massively forgotten about films sometimes. So this film again is low budget. Pretty much all of these are low budget films. This is what video nasties were. They were low budget films that were pumped out quickly and they were just put in with the most shocking things I could think of in some instances. And that was the reason why they were sort of picked upon, I would say. And a lot of these ones, when you look at them, you think, what on earth were these banned for? So it's great to see Severin doing stuff in the UK now. Like I say, it's not the greatest of 4Ks. If you're looking at 4Ks from today, it's never going to stand up with them. But if you think about it for what it used to look like or where it's come from, you will know that this is a massive upgrade. But saying that, all of the ones from now have got sensational picture quality. So at number 8, that's Butcher Baker, Nightmare Maker. Next up at number 7 is 1981's Absurd. This is a section 1 banned video nasty and it looks spectacular. When I first saw this, it was on VHS and the VHS looked abysmal. In fact, you could hardly see what was going on. And that takes you massively out of the film. You can't enjoy it. You can't see what's going on. This film is filmed mainly at night. But that's where this comes into play. The black levers on here are sensational and they need to be for a film like this. This could be classed as an Italian reimagining of Halloween. And when you watch it, you can say, yeah, I can see where they're going on that one. but the picture quality in here is absolutely stunning. When you see these films now and they're being given the most amazing restorations, there's nothing can beat it for me. Yes, you can get the most amazing 4K coming out now, shot in IMAX, and they do look fantastic. But for me, it's a wow factor when you put these discs on and you don't know what you're going to get, and then you see them for the first time and you go and flick through them and you think, this is a winner. And this is what I like about the 4Ks, especially with the video nasties, because usually most people have seen the video nasties way back when, and they've looked on either bootlegs or they've looked on the most, because they never were given any major release. They were just chucked on a tape and thrown on the video shelves. So there's no care and attention to them. But these days, they get the care and attention that they need. So highly recommended from here on in if you want to see picture qualities that can wow when you think of what they used to look like. Even though the first three were good, this is where it's starting to get into the wow factor. So at number 7, that's absurd. At number 6 is 1970s Mark of the Devil. This is a Section 3 video nasty. This is released by Vinegar Syndrome and it is absolutely amazing. I think this is still available, hopefully. Another thing you've got to take into account is this film's from 1970. Where have the negatives been since then? And the fact is that Vinegar Syndrome could get the negatives and make this just look and bring all the information out and treat it with the colours on here and the sharpness and everything. They're just unbelievable. Now, this is a really nasty film. This is one of those ones where you see it on Section 3 and you think, this should have been a Section 1 all day long. Was the UK one, did it come out? Did it not have a really gaudy cover? Because I think the cover got them into a lot of trouble. They weren't even looked at. They went around and said, that cover, I don't like that one. Put it on the list, probably with the strength of the cover. If this cover had been on it, it would have definitely been a Section 1. I always find it amazing how violent some films can be on Section 3, as opposed to some of the ones on Section 1 that aren't violent at all. Like Axe, for instance. That's a Section 1, there's nothing in it. This one here is a Section 3, and it is really violent. But you've got to thank the censors for that, because it shows you that they didn't have a clue what they were doing about. And this is proof in the pudding. Anyway, highly recommended this one. The film is really good, but the 4K, if you think the Arrow Blu-ray looks nice, wait till you see this one. It's absolutely insane. So that's at number 6. That's Mark of the Devil. At number 5 is 1980s Friday the 13th. Yes, this is a Section 3 video nasty. Now, I hope that they are going to put all of the Friday the 13th franchise on 4K, because I can't wait. It's my favorite franchise of all time. I love it. And the more the merrier for me. Now, when this came out, there was some talk about it not being the best looking 4K, and I could think it could be a bit better. This one, but on the dark scenes, the dark levels, they look a bit dark at times. Not all the time. I think that maybe the opening scene looks quite dark compared to the Blu-ray, for instance. But 4Ks do look darker than the Blu-rays, usually. But when you see this in the daytime scenes, it looks unbelievable. I was quite surprised. I went back and looked at this. Obviously, I've looked at them to get the screenshots. I was quite surprised at how good this looked. I was thinking in my mind that it didn't look as good as this, and it's great to get another surprise when you put these things on. You think, wow, it really does look that good. So at the moment, this is only available in the US in 4K, and it could be better, but I do think this is a really great 4K. So at number 5, that's Friday the 13th. At number 4 is 1981's The Nesting. This is a Section 3 video nasty. This has just come out by Vinegar Syndrome, and it looks absolutely amazing. This is another one that I've never seen before. I have been wanting to get it obviously on the Blu-ray. I've heard the Blu-rays looks pretty good, but this is what a great film this is. It's like a haunted house film, and it was really surprising at how good it was. Is it really nasty? I don't think it is. A lot of the ones on Section 3, you struggle to understand why they're on there at all, why they're even put on the list and then downgraded at Section 3. It just shows you what lunacy was overtaking the country at that point in the early 80s. It was just unbelievable. The fact that they're doing that with these and not just banging them onto a 4K and just chucking them out and just thinking, oh, that'll do. They're going back and just doing the most amazing restorations. And this is the best thing about this when I'm talking about the top ones. The fact that they've all been treated well, but the inherent, like the prints on the other ones, they can't do much with them. The 16mm, they can't get the information off. But when they go back to 35mm scans, they can get the most amazing picture quality you will ever see for these type of films. But again, a solid release. in terms of film and transfer. That's the nesting. At number 3 is 1980's The Boogeyman, or The Bogeyman as it's known in the UK. It was released on Blu-ray by 88 on the Slasher collection, and it looked fantastic. So I knew that this one would look nice, but I was really surprised at how good it looked. Main thing about this one is the colours. But I do think that when these were put onto VHS quite cheaply, they weren't given, as I said, any care and attention. They just said, look, we'll put this on, we'll throw it out, we'll get some money off it. But they've missed out on a big treat, which probably didn't even exist back in the day, about how somebody would restore these type of films anyway. They were probably restoring the big films, but they wouldn't give these a second look because they were just treated as garbage. Just like, there's a horror film, let's just throw it out, put it on the shelves, Video Nasty. Well, not Video Nasty, it became Video Nasty in the video library. And that's it, job done. Move on to the next one. Yes, your latest blockbuster's always going to look good on 4K, usually. But these ones are the ones that you really look forward to. And when you see them, when you put them on for the first time and you see them and they come out and you just think, I can't believe what I'm watching. And I get more of a buzz out of them than I do of the latest blockbuster, if that makes any sense. Anyway, so at number 3, that's The Bogeyman. At number 2 is 1975's The Night Train Murders. This is a Section 2 video nasty. It was released by this is a 88 4K. It was released there on Blu-ray. Now, I'd seen this on a DVD, and the DVD looked all right. I think it was a Blue Underground DVD. And then the Blue Underground Blu-ray came out, which looked really nice. And then I got rid of it because that one came out there, which looked even better. I was really surprised at how good this film's looked. This film is a nasty film. This should have been a Section 1 video nasty all day long. It is brutal in places, but it's such a beautiful film as well. This takes place, it's basically Last House on the Left on a train. Now, when you see how this looks, especially at night on the train, because sometimes they've got these places to go into, the compartments to go into, they are lit like in blue and red and green, and they look amazing in 4K. The sharpness of the picture quality is just next level. One of the things that amazes me about these films is that they are so nasty, they are so low budget, and they could look utter trash. They could have used the lowest film stock, they could have made it look gritty and, really nasty, for want of a better word. But they have chosen to make a really good looking film. Now, you wouldn't think that when you used to watch these on VHS that these films could look like this. So it's a bit of a revelation when you see these ones and think, wow, there was a good filmmaker behind this, and they did actually try and make something that looked really nice, even though this film is completely a juxtaposition to that. But this is really stunning, and I knew it would be because the Blu-ray looks that nice, but 88 have done it again. They have went back to the original negatives after 10 years, because that was released 10 years ago, the first one, number 1. This is the 4K version that they've done a brand new restoration, which is great. I like them to do that, not just to upgrade the original Blu-ray. I think that's a bit of a cheat. Now, a lot of the big companies do that, and it's actually, I think the majority of the boutique labels do their own restorations, and they do them well. Highly recommended. This 4K is just unbelievable, but it is nasty. So at number 2, that's The Night Train Murders. So at number 1 is 1981's Friday the 13th Part 2. This is a Section 3 video nasty. Try saying that after 15 pints. Now, I have always thought on DVD and Blu-ray, I've seen this on VHS, the whole lot. I've always thought that this one looked a little bit dark, a little bit like drab. It didn't seem to have the same picture quality as some of the other ones did. I think Friday the 13th has always looked better than this one for me. So when I got this one, I thought, yeah, it'd probably be average. Not average, but it would be, not one of the ones that was going to wow us. And I put it on. I could not believe what I was watching. This is one of the best 4Ks I've seen, bar none. Never mind a 4K video nasty. Now, spoiler alert, if you're going to go out and check out the previous one I've done from last year, of the other 10 that I had, the number 1 in there is definitely going to beat this one. The number 1 on the previous video, I think, will never be beaten, ever. But I would like to see somebody trying. But this one here, it does everything. The colors in here are amazing. The sharpness is unbelievable. And the dark levels are insane. It ticks all the boxes. It's just amazing. Now, the main thing is I want them to go and continue. You see, this has just come out in the UK, Friday the 13th, Part 2. Part 1 didn't come out, probably rights issues. Part 2 is out here. There's not really any talk about the other ones. I'm talking about the Universal ones, parts 3 to 8. I know the other ones are coming out now from Arrow, although Freddy versus Jason might not come out in that one. So they're all going to be coming out here, there, and everywhere. But I'd really like to see if they can do this. I know part 3 is never going to look good because it was filmed in 3D, and that's going to take the quality down a little bit. C'est la vie. But the other ones, I think, will look, if they look anything like this. I never thought this one could look this good. This is why the wow factor for me was massive on this one. I was thinking I would get like a one that I thought would look pretty good, and I'll be quite happy with it. This is demo quality. If somebody doesn't know anything about 4K and you want to sort of show it off and you say, right, I'm going to put Friday the 13th part 2 on it, they'll probably say, you're joking, aren't you? That thing. And you say, well, take a look at this. And they will be just blown away by it like I was. This is, and it's a bit of a sleeper hit for me. A lot of people don't seem to really talk that much about Friday the 13th part 2 as it's a great film, but they don't seem to say, oh, on their lists of like, wow, this 4K is brilliant. You don't see this one getting talked about that much. It seems to have slid under the radar. I do urge anybody to pick it up because you can get it too for £15 these days, or maybe even cheaper than that in a CEX. But get the slipcover. The slipcover in here is one of my favorite slipcovers as well. They couldn't have done a better slipcover for me, and I think it's just amazing. So hopefully they'll do the rest of them because part 1 was like this. They'll do the rest of them of the original covers on Friday the 13th because Friday the 13th part 3, that cover is brilliant as well. I want to see that happening. I will be back in about another year's time when I've got another 10, and there is quite a few out there that I haven't picked up yet. So I'll get on and pick them up, and I'll be back hopefully within the next year to give you another upgrade on these ones. But do check the other one down there because I think that most of them are still available, and the number 1 is highly recommended. And for me, it's a real blast to be having films like Friday the 13th Part 2 topping the list of a 4K transfer. So, thanks for watching. You take care, and I will see you on the next video. Cheers.